speaking of, if you don't like Spider-Punk, get the f*** off this video right now. Today on Beyond the Art, we're going to be taking a deep look at the art of Across the Spider-Verse. Hey, what's up guys? Thanks for coming to watch this video. This is the first episode of Beyond the Art. And in this series, we're going to be looking at art books, most specifically related to the art of animated films, the art of video games, the art of comic book artists, most specifically those genres. Every now and then we'll probably touch some painters or different fine artists every now and then, but mostly related to animation and comics. We're going to be looking at the art of books, and I'm super excited that today, our first episode, we're going to be taking a look at this book. This is the art of the movie Across the Spider-Verse, and man, just from the cover, this is already a beautiful book. And so we're going to open this up and we're going to take a look at it. Okay, so really quickly before we get into the video, I just wanted to say real quickly that you're gonna hear my buddy Henry. This is our little boy. He barks and he whines throughout some of the video. I just wanted to say, don't worry, he's okay, he's safe. We have a little area for him. He's blind and he's deaf, but he still is a lot of love and a lot of joy to be around. So don't worry if you hear him whining. He's perfectly okay, and he actually just turned 15 years old. Yeah, yesterday. So happy birthday, buddy. And please, if you have a second, please give him a happy birthday. He's 15, so we love him. But yeah, back to the video. Just wanted to say don't worry. Alright guys, so here we have it. Here is the art of Across the Spider-Verse. And hopefully you've seen this movie. If you haven't, I don't know what the hell you're doing here. You need to go check that out. Watch that movie. Watch Into the Spider-Verse. At some point we'll probably do an art of book for Into the Spider-Verse as well. But I really just wanted to do this one. This has been this was definitely my favorite film of 2023, and I even put that above Hayao Miyazaki's Boy and the Heron, which was an amazing film and I know it did a lot of great stuff, but so did Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I mean, it got a bunch of awards. I think it lost, I can't remember which award it did, but it lost to The Boy and the Heron on one of those significant awards. But this by far is my favorite movie of 2023, and I have never, let's go ahead and take a look at the back cover. As you can see, I'm going to go ahead and I'll unfold it out. But if you know me, and my fiance can attest to this, I am not a huge Spider-Man fan. I mean, I like Spider-Man, but I've never been like a huge kind of Spider-Man kind of guy. He's just been kind of like, he's cool, but Batman's always been my favorite, and not with this movie. This movie made me love Spider-Man, guys. I mean, most specifically, it made me love Miles Morales, but I just started to really adore the character, really adore the different types of stories that have been told with it. But yeah, that's just a personal thing right there. But man, let's take a look at this artwork. Check this out right here. I mean, from beginning to end, the thing I love about these books, and Sony does it very well when they do the art of books. I don't know who publishes these, but oh my gosh, like, so much artwork, and that's the way it should be. It should be about the artwork. That's what I love about these art of books, and why I wanted to create this show, because it's the stuff that you don't get to see. A lot of it is the artwork that doesn't get put into the film. Some of it you'll see a little bit, but this is the nuts and bolts of what started leading to, you know, it starts with an idea, and then these artists have to come and they take and develop it. And as you can see here, here's a bunch of different ideas for different characters. I mean, there's kind of like a I like this one. It's kind of like a Rob Liefeld kind of Spider-Man there back in the 90s, when those guys were at the top of the comic book industry. And I mean, look at this stuff right here. I mean, this stuff is beautiful. I love the watercolor touches that they use for Gwen, and it echoes. I never really read the comics, but I've seen some of the Spider-Gwen comics, and they were supposedly trying to replicate a little bit of that of the watercolor finishes to the artwork. Just amazing. But yeah, the one thing about these art of books is a lot of these are ideas that don't actually make it into the film, but they all accumulate in some way. So give or take whether it's actually in the film or not, I feel like it all ends up adding up and in some way or another gets put into the film, whether it's just the idea, the concept, whether it influences another idea, but you can just feel the energy and feel how much effort that they put into this to make the movie great and to make sure that the story was the best that it could be. The one thing that I find really inspiring about artist books is the idea that because there's so much artwork in here that doesn't go into the movie, it shows you how much work, yes, but it I think kind of loosens up the pressure a little bit of trying to get everything right the first time, because you're not going to. You're not going to get the story right, you're not going to get the art style, whatever it is, you're not going to get everything perfect the first try. This is so many different tries and so many different details, and there's so much more. I can promise you. I wasn't there when they were making this movie, but I follow a lot of artists that did work on this movie, and they're releasing artwork, tons and tons of artwork that aren't even in this book, just things that that contributed to making the movie or things that didn't get made into the movie. But I think it's kind of encouraging. I think it's very encouraging to know that it's a process and that you're not going to get it perfect. So don't even bother trying getting it perfect. Just get your ideas, try stuff, see what works, see what doesn't work, throw out what doesn't work, and keep what does, keep what sticks. And so that's one of the things I really love about art of books, or any kind of artist books. I love stepping into the mind of the creators. I mean, look at this stuff. Beautiful shot right there of Gwen Stacy. I love the purple hues, and I love how much they really played with color this movie. And that's the one thing that I really appreciated about this movie, is how much they really pushed themselves to make this film better than the first film. Which I feel like when I actually heard that they were making more movies, I was a bit skeptical, I'll be honest. I didn't think that it was going to be better than the first one. Most sequels aren't. And the fact when I heard it was going to be a trilogy, I just thought they were just trying to milk it for money. Because the first one was great. And, you know, I was hoping that they weren't. Oh my gosh. That's just, wow. That's awesome. But I was hoping they weren't. But, you know, I was a bit skeptical because, you know, a lot of studios do that. And money, you know, people get greedy and they just want to milk the thing, even though they don't respect or appreciate what they've already done and try to push it further. But that was not the case with this movie. They really did their best to make it better, and I was super surprised and shocked that I liked this movie 10 times better than the first one. I thought the first one was amazing, but this one, I don't know, it just hit differently. Jeez, look at that. Like, that's so creepy. The hatching and stuff. Like, the fact that they were able to replicate the hatching and all the looseness. I mean, I don't even know how you do that in 3D. I never thought that was even possible, but they really did it in a way that made things feel like they were 2D, but still having that 3D aspect. This character, oh my god, and I forget the guy who plays his voice, but is the same actor who plays the postman in Klaus, and man, they fit the voice perfectly to the character. It added so much humor, and you know, it's this character that really, he is hurt by what Spider-Man did to him, and he really just wants to feel validated and valued as a villain because Spider-Man did this to him, Miles did this to him. And there's just this quirkiness, like his body shape and everything. The character designer, whoever came up with this, I'm sure it's in here, the character designer who did this, man, like, kudos to you, because it's just, man, that's just amazing, beautiful stuff right there. The one thing I wish we would have seen more of was him before the spot. You didn't really need it for the story, but it would have been cool, because, like, look at this, look at all this artwork of this guy. It would have been cool to see a little bit more of who he was before and who he was afterwards, after the what is it called, the quantum thingamajiggy, I don't know what you call it, but if you know, if you notice, I'm terrible at remembering names of things, but it would have been cool to see the kind of person he was before, being more science and technology driven, and probably a little bit more of an introverted kind of person, compared to he's the polar opposite kind of when he becomes the villain. And you know, just seeing that transition a little bit more would have been cool. Maybe they'll show a little bit more. I doubt that they'll show it in the Beyond the Spider-Verse, but it's just a cool thought. Wow. These are really interesting here, right here. It almost gives a little bit more. I think out of all of them, I like that one the most. But it kind of has that cosmic feel to it. And you know, the Spot was a character that I remember seeing back in the 90s show, and he was a little bit silly. Like, he was very corny, and they took the corniness, and he still has that corniness, which is what's cool about it, but he's a serious villain. And at first we're like, who the f is this guy, you know, like, get out of here, you know. Spider-Man's feeling the same way, and you know, by the end we're like, oh shit, because a dude deserves his props. He's a badass villain, and we're gonna see how it all ends in the third movie. Look at this. I mean, the explosion of energy and stuff. I mean, the one thing I love too is that they really pay homage to the artists, the comic book artists. They really try to give it that sensibility of the classic comic books, the Spider-Man comic books, but just the comic book language in general, by having hatching, by having Kirby crackle, like, for energy. Like, they really did that for the first movie, and there was a little bit of it in this movie, but all the different kind of effects. I mean, the effects department definitely deserves a lot of credit, because it wouldn't be the same movie without all the different effects and things that they had to come up with for this movie. And that's the one thing I will say is, not only did they give respect, but they added to it. And that's what I think they did really well, was, okay, this is where we're getting this from, but let's push it even further. And I love that, and I love being able to see that here. Miguel O'Hara is scary, a scary motherfucker. Like, seriously, I would not, I've never really felt this way about a character, but I would not want to with Miguel O'Hara as Spider-Man. Like, they made him feel so sinister. Like, so like just a little bit demented in some way, in a strange way, like he's trying to do the good thing, but he's also got this kind of corrupt part of him because of what he's went through. And that's what makes a great character, is that complexity of, we were like, yeah, he's saying the right things, he's trying to do the right things, but I don't know, the way he's doing is a little iffy. So that's something that's just really, really cool to see. And just shows the subtlety that they were really focusing on with these characters. Man, look at this. This is going back to some of that 80s, 90s, just comic book ink work. Man, and I love this part right here. They painted a few of they'll have a shot where it's an action shot, and within it there'll be a couple frames here and there where they'll have an artist paint the frame completely bold colors and everything, just like this. And it only shows up for a split second, but it gives that effect, that energy. And you know, just like, I'm a big fan of Jack Kirby, like how his energy is, like it feels like they took kind of like that and they threw it into this animation by doing that. One of the things I'll say is, going back to, oh shoot, no, I gotta talk about this. Shut the f up. This was so cool when I read about this. I had no idea that Brian Stelfreeze, he is a comic book artist that has worked on Black Panther, he's worked on Batman, and I had no idea that they contacted him for Jessica Drew. And I mean, once I see it, it just makes sense that this would be something that Stelfreeze would do. But man, look at this. He added so much character, so much personality. I love this one right here. I think he uses gouache. He might use watercolor, I'm not sure, but I think he uses gouache for the color, and he's one of my favorite artists. His run on Black Panther is just fantastic, and with Ta-Nehisi Coates, I think that's how you say his name. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but his run with Ta-Nehisi Coates on that is just brilliant. I haven't finished it. Yeah, I know. I need to finish it. But man, what I've read so far, it's just phenomenal. He adds so much to the character, both the writer and the artist. But yeah, it was so cool. It's such a good surprise to see this. And yet again, here's another really cool thing that they did, was just the different worlds that they went to, and they got super creative. I'm sure it was so tough to pick which Spider-Man and which worlds to show off. And this, I don't know how to say his name, Pravitar Prabhakar. Sorry, I know I probably butchered that name, but he's such a cool Spider-Man. I've never heard of him. I don't know if they created him for this movie. They might have, but it's so cool to see different Spider-Mans from different cultures. And you know, when audiences watch that, and audiences I'm sure from India, when they watch it, they can be so inspired that somebody that is from their culture and their background, such as a character that has such significance as Spider-Man, you know, that's really, really an awesome thing, and it helps the audience connect that much more with the movie. Speaking of, if you don't like Spider-Punk, get the f*** off this video right now. I don't know who does not, but Spider-Punk is the coolest thing I have ever seen. Hobie Brown since like Batman the Man Who Laughs. He is badass. He's just, I don't give a shit what you think. I don't care what you want. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna do my own thing. And I love, love, love that. For me, this was another moment when we saw Mayday Parker. That was just, oh my god, like, it hit me pretty heavily, because I had just had a baby, and I didn't get to see this movie when it came out as much as I wanted to. I wanted to go to the theaters and see it, but my daughter was born on May 22nd, and I think this movie came out like June 2nd, somewhere around then, sometime in June. And it was so cool to see that, not only for the character, but I could see my little girl being, you know, like this. She has that kind of same sassy, silly personality. A love for danger. She's a little daredevil. So for me, it was so cool to see them do something like this. And you can't forget about Spider Dad. I mean, this would be me right here. I mean, I'm telling you. Besides the coffee part, because I don't really drink coffee, but the dead tired dad with a dad bod. That's my goals right there, right here. Oh man. Just hit me on so many different feels, not gonna lie. And again, look at all these different spider characters that never made it into the film. All these people with different artworks. And I mean, they might get brought up at some point, maybe not, most likely not, but it's so cool just to see. I mean, all this artwork deserves to be seen, and that's why these art books are really super important, because every single artist puts in so much time and so much effort, and all this stuff deserves to be seen. So support your artists, man. Support them. Support them. We all need it. We need your help. Follow us. Give us love. Give us your money. Especially your money. So now we're getting into the worlds here. These are the different worlds of the Spider-Verse movie, and you had a couple, I mean, probably like 5 or 6 different worlds I feel like we touched into during the movie. Gwen Stacy's was probably, I would say, my favorite. I think we got a little bit of a little hint at Hobie's. It would have been cool to see his world a little bit more. And man, just look at all this different stuff. I mean, look at all these different details. Everybody, you have to think about these things, and it's so tough. I mean, a lot of reference goes into it, but as artists, you're pulling from these things that are in real life, and you have to composite them, you have to caricature them in a way that fits with the style. There's so many different elements that goes into just creating these different kinds of worlds. One thing I've heard from watching different interviews and reading this book and different things like that is that there was so much in this film. This film was originally supposed to be one movie. It was going to be one movie. They weren't going to do all the 3 movie things, but the universe and the story was just so big. They were trying to condense it into one story, and then they realized, you know, there's so much to this that this was going to work way better if we split it up into a 2-parter. And honestly, I'm super happy about that, super pumped, because that means we get more Spider-Verse, that means we get more Miles Morales, and more of these cool Spider-Men. I can't wait to see what else they're going to do in the next movies. But I just thought that was really fascinating, just to hear, like, you could be creating something. Let's say you're creating a short film or something, and you start writing it, you start boarding it, and then you realize it's a much bigger story than what you thought it was. And so that's why it's important just to start. Just go ahead and start with that idea. Start with something small, and you never know. You might get something bigger. You might get a series out of it. You never know. So it's really cool. It's one of those things that you find along the way. Yeah, look at this. This is every world has its own language, and this one had so many like different diagonals and triangles, and you can kind of see it. But there's a lot of more straight edges, like hard edges. It's very angular, and it's very intuitive and very subtle because it echoes his character. It echoes Miguel O'Hara, because he's a very edgy, very like my way or the highway kind of guy, very militant. All of these shapes are very solid. You know, he's leading an army of Spider-Man, so the base reflects that. Like, everything in storytelling has to reflect the story you're trying to tell in that moment. The characters, all of it. So every little detail tells you something. And this right here, like, you immediately know that this is a therapy session. And that scene is hilarious, by the way. And there's some storyboards from there right here. Again, more of those triangular, angular, very solid, grounded shapes, just to emphasize Miguel O'Hara's personality and to emphasize his story and the kind of person he is. Even the shapes of his face, and his body are very triangular, very angular. A lot of hard edges. Man, this is some really, really beautiful stuff right here. Look at all these different blues with the hints of pinks. Oh my god. This world, Earth 42, I cannot wait to see more of this. Oh man. Gosh, I just want more. Please, make more. Make it. I can't wait for it. I think it comes out very soon this year. I didn't get to see the last one, like I said, in theaters, but this one I am not missing. I promise. I will take my baby. She is gonna go with me, and she's gonna love it. I promise. If she doesn't, then Mama can watch her. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But man, look at this. The one thing I love about this is all the ink work in here, like heavy blacks. Look at that. Like, look at right here. This is such like almost Tommy Lee Edwards with the blacks. Like, look at that right there. So amazing. So amazing. Jeez. Just the grungy, dark world that this is. I mean, I love this frame right here. Look at this. The harsh shadows and lighting has a bit of noir feel to it. And man, I love their use of halftones and zipatone and all of that. Just so much texture. And these are 2D images, but they get this in the movie. And I think what they did and what I love about it is that they said, look, this is what we want to look at. Like, not that this is inspired. No, we want the film, every frame of this film, to look like this. You know, and they did that, which is what blows my mind, especially considering that it's 3D. And it just makes me think about, like, what are the possibilities that, like, I mean, this shows that there is so much more potential for 3D and than just like your basic Disney kind of style, Pixar style. And you're seeing it. People want more. People are getting fatigued. We're seeing the same stuff over and over and over again. And the stories, you know, there's some good stories, but a couple of the last few Disney movies and things like that, they weren't that great. Since like Encanto, I mean, there was some good ones in there. There was Luca. There was I can't even think of it. I have a terrible memory, guys. But what I'm getting at is we're tired of it. We want to see new, different ideas, not some formulaic shit that you're gonna just keep milking and try to make it work because people like that for the first couple movies. No, keep pushing the idea, keep bringing something new to it. And that's no disrespect for any of the movies that I'm talking about, but just I hope that Disney and Pixar and any other studios out there are realizing that let the artist's vision shine. Like, the artists are the ones that are creative. Yes, you know, the executives and all of that and the producers play an extremely important role, but the artists are the ones that are bringing this to life. And all of these guys are super intelligent, and they understand story, they understand the different sensibilities and aesthetics and how that influences the story and what's going to work well together. It's why you see a bunch of animators and storyboard artists and people that work in animation go to comic books, because they have more freedom. They have more freedom to do that in their work. And there's no reason this movie, and honestly the last few Sony movies, Mitchell's vs. the Machines, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, the Monster Mayhem movie, all these different movies, they're starting to realize that they don't have to be the same formula and the same kind of digested kind of movie over and over. Let's push the boundaries. Animation has so much capability, and anything that we can imagine, we can bring it to the screen. And this goes to show, because there were things that I felt like weren't even possible that they've proven it's possible, and there's still more that can be done. That was my artist rant. That was my rant. I hope you're listening, Disney, Pixar, any of you, DC, Marvel, animation studios, fucking listen. Yeah, I can't wait to see more of this Miles Morales. It was just so intriguing, and a lot of people complained about the ending, that it wasn't enough. I felt like it was perfectly enough. I felt like they ended it very well. Yeah, of course, would I wanted to see more? Of course, but I felt like it was a good, like, you know, this movie's supposed to be a chapter or a couple of chapters. You know, this is like Act 2 and the 3 acts of the trilogy. So the next one we'll get is really the completion to the trilogy and to completion to all these films. So maybe it didn't quite package it as neatly as most people would like, but I felt like it did a very good job of ending it on a good note, where I'm like, I want more, and I'm not unsatisfied with the ending. But let me know what you think about the ending. Did you like the ending? Did you think they could have done more? Do you think that they should just try to squeeze it all into one movie? Let me know. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are. That's my opinion, but man, I love to hear everybody else's thoughts, because, you know, somebody might have a different perspective than I do on it. And here's even some of the screenplay right here and how it translated over into the visuals, which is really cool. And I'll actually say they just recently, about a month or so ago, released the screenplay, which I haven't read the screenplay yet, but I'm excited to read it. And it's really cool just to see how things are translated from the text, the script, to the visuals, because the artists and the animators, all the creators on this craft every single frame, whereas like in live action it's a little bit different. Man, look at that. Alright, so that is it. That is the end of this book. I really appreciate you guys joining in this video. The one thing I'll say is thank you to the directors, Phil Lord, Chris Miller of Into the Spider-Verse. I believe they're producers on this movie, and this time there was a trio of directors: Kemp Powers, Hakeem Dos Santos, and Justin K. Thompson. Thank you guys, and thank you to every single person that worked on this film, from the storyboard artists to the animators to the visual effects to the viz dev, to every single person that works to make this happen. Make sure you guys appreciate them, because they're the ones that bring us these stories, and they put in night and day to make sure that we enjoy the stories and we enjoy Spider-Verse. So make sure you go buy this right here. Go buy it right now. Are you doing it? Did you buy it? Did you put it in your Amazon cart? You better have done it right now, or else I'm going to come and not do anything except bring you this book, because this book is worth it. I'm telling you. Get it now. Thank you guys for watching. This was a fun video, and man, I can't wait to do more. Please let me know in the comments what you think of this series, Beyond the Art. I have so many different more books. I don't know if you can really see it, but I've got shelf full, and even other shelves full of different kinds of art of books. And the reason that I really made this series was because I have so many, and there's so many that I haven't had a chance to read, and I now get the chance. It makes me go and read them. I want to read them anyway, but now I can share that with you, and I love sharing this kind of stuff with you guys. I hope you can tell that. So I could talk about this kind of shit forever. So thank you guys. I'm going to not talk about it forever because you guys are probably getting tired of hearing my voice and hearing me rant and mumble and ramble. So thank you guys. Appreciate you guys for watching. Please make sure you subscribe, like, and share so we can get more of this kind of stuff out there to you. And I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.